Hello friends, welcome to this next video of case studies in the Mineral Exploration Academy. Today we will be studying the Bhukia gold deposit. Bhukia is situated in southwestern Rajasthan in India and geologically is part of the Aravalli supergroup. Today our teacher is Dr. D.B. Guha. Dr. D.B. Guha has been instrumental in the discovery and resource estimation of the Bhukia gold deposit, and today he will be teaching us about the general geology of Rajasthan, the location of Bhukia in that system, and he will be teaching us what has been the exploration strategy and what has been the typical observable items in the Bhukia area and what led to its discovery and resource estimate. We will be learning more of it directly from Dr. Guha. Welcome, Dr. Guha.
I am Dr. D.B. Guha, ex-Deputy Director General of the Geological Survey, and I am going to speak on a topic of gold mineralization in Rajasthan, which is entitled Gold and Associated Base Metal Mineralization in Bhukia area, Banswara district of Rajasthan. In the beginning, I would like to share with the audience that the geological setup of Rajasthan is important in this context. In this map, you can see the central green part is the tectonic terrain of Rajasthan, which is made up of megmatic gneisses included by tonalite, transamite, and granodiorite series of rock, which is called the banded gneissic complex. And this is being flanked on the western side by the Aravalli and the Delhi supergroup of rocks indicated by red color in this map, and on the indicated by red color and the purple color in this map. In the western side is the South Delhi fold belt, and in the southwestern side the purple color is the Aravalli fold belt, which are deposited over the cratonic terrain in rift basins, and they form the Aravalli fold belt and the Delhi fold belt with Aravalli supergroup of rocks and Delhi supergroup of rocks. Gold in Rajasthan is found in all the terrains, like in the tectonic part of the Bhilwara supergroup, which is called as the BGC. It is also found in the lower to middle Proterozoic Aravalli supergroup, which is deposited, and with the mountain building activity, it has formed the Aravalli fold belt. It has been deposited over the Bhilwara supergroup, the cratonic basement. Resources which has been identified in the cratonic terrain of this Rajasthan craton is the Dhani Basri, Devtalai, Ladera, and several other areas where 5 million tons to 1 million ton small deposits of gold are found. These are associated with copper deposits also, and the copper gold is always associated in almost all the associations in Rajasthan. Gold in Aravalli supergroup is found in the four belts like Bhukia Dugocha belt, Pathara Hinglaj Mata Mahuri Khera belt, Chari Berawal belt, Devalapal and Deval belt. These are shown by this geological map of the gold prospects found in southwestern part of Rajasthan area, where we can see the Bhukia Dugocha belt is indicated by this white belt in the central part, followed by the Bharkundi Hinglaj Mata belt on the eastern side of the Bhukia Dugocha belt, and followed upwards on the northeastern side is the Anjani Ghagri Berawal Chari belt. Gold prospect of this Bhukia area is located nearby Jagpura village in Banswara district of Rajasthan. Exploratory drilling was also carried out between 72 and 1974 by Iqbaluddin and others. But finally, the gold occurrence was targeted in 1991-92 by Grover and Verma, who identified gold zones in this area with the gold values varying from 0.01 gram per ton to 75 gram per ton. Based on certain geological analytical results of geochemical samples, 4 areas were identified in this Bhukia gold prospect. And as a follow-up of detailed exploration for gold, this area was divided into 15 blocks. This is the geological map of Bhukia area, Banswara district, where the gold prospect is located. The blue part is the carbonate dominated area, followed by a major rock lithology by this orange part, which is the tufaceous rock of carbonate bearing rock, which is a tufaceous rock, which is also called as a keratophore unit in this area. It is followed by schistose rocks identified by gray units, quartzite identified by uh, yellow units, and on the eastern side we have thick units of basic and ultra basic rocks, and also in the center parts where we get our basic and ultra basic parts. Interestingly, several Gosan zones which are identified by red marking in this map are present in this Bhukia gold prospect. Above the tectonic terrain, we have the rift-related Aravalli orogeny, and Aravalli supergroup of rocks are the lithological setup in this area, of which the lowest part is the Delwara group, and this Bhanswara area, Bhukia gold prospect, forms the Delwara group. The rocks bear three deformational events in this area. The earliest folds are isoplanar folds with north-northwest, south-southeast axial trend, and the second folds are refolding these earlier folds with the same axial trend of north-northwest, south-southeast. And the last event is the third fold, which are broad open warps with northeast, southwest structural trend. The surface expressions are important in this area for mineralization point of view. Here we have presence of a number of parallel to subparallel discontinuous bands of dorsans, which are very common, and they contain native gold as visible gold flakes or visible gold grains in this area. Limited hydrothermal alteration and other types of alterations are also very important for identifying the surface expressions of mineralization. There are malachite and azurite staining, etc. You can see in this photograph this malachite azurite staining on gosanized host rock from this Bhukia area, and a typical gosan with different colorations over it, which are the indicators of manifestations of the gold presence in this area. This is one of the gosan which contain native gold as small yellow specks in this rock type, in this gosan. Nature of mineralization in this area is very interesting. Sulfides are initially occurring along the bedding and foliations and are folded along with the deformations. And mineralization is noted to occur mostly in the albite-rich tufaceous rocks, followed by amphibolite, dolomitic marble, quartzite, and pegmatite in decreasing order of abundance. Different sulfide minerals identified in this mineralization as are by naked eye are pyrrhotite, arsenopyrite, chalcopyrite, cubanite, pyrite, lowlingite, cobaltite, and with decreasing order of abundance. Alteration of pyrrhotite into pyrite and marcasite is invariably noticed. F2 fold closures and shears parallel to the axial plane of these folds are the locales for mineralization in this area. Study of polished sections and coarse sections have indicated replacement textures. Two generations of arsenopyrite is noticed in this area. The earlier one is the coarser grain, and the later one is the finer grain. And this finer grained arsenopyrite contain most of the gold contained in this mineral resource area. Chalcopyrite occurs at intergranular phenix in the host rocks and shows mutual boundary with pyrrhotite and other minerals. Pyrrhotite forms triple junctions with chalcopyrite and arsenopyrite, and cubanite is seen to be exalted from chalcopyrite at higher temperature and occurs as an unmixed blade within chalcopyrite, which indicates that this deposit is possibly metamorphosed. Host rocks and hydrothermal alteration in these rocks are indicated by sodium and barium metasomatism in carbonate rocks, alteration of dolomitic marble with the host rocks showing gradation from weakly altered dolomite to varying content of calcilicate minerals to highly altered alpitized calcilicate rocks. These are very important for identifying or locating the gold mineralization in this area. These are the photographs showing different types of hydrothermal alteration in carbonate rocks where albite is in profuse and secondary iron and many other minerals are present. This is the evidences of ancient mining activities in this area where old workings are found. In the upper photographs, you can see this old working, and this lower part, these miners have gone inside the old working and mined the gold deposit. These are the grinding implements found in this area. These are the panning sites where the metal was been extracted in that area along small rivulets. And based on all these evidences which I have spoken already, the exploration method adopted by the workers, including myself in this area, was initially this mapping on large scale mapping on 1:12,500 scale was done to identify the general lithological setup. which was followed by detailed mapping on 2000 and 1000 scale to identify and locate the mineralized zones on the geological map. Mineralized zones were identified on geological map based on Gaussian and alteration zones. Its relation with lithologies were also identified in the field and they were mapped. Structural control of mineralized zones were identified in terms of fold closures, shear zones or fault zones, and anastomosing conjugate shear zones, etc. Alteration zones were identified and marked on the detailed map. Pitting and trenching and geochemical sampling as per QAQC was done to target the prospective mineralized zones thus identified through mapping. Geophysical Miscellaneous survey was done to check the extension of the mineralized zones, and these mineralized zones identified were taken as target areas and were drilled with borehole spacing of 100-meter to 50-meter spacing in a staggering fashion. Core samples were obtained by drilling, which were duly logged and then sampled as per norms of QAQC. Length of each sample was found to be best at 25 centimeter. That means each sample was of 25 centimeter for chemical analysis, and this was found to be the best containing mineral copper and gold. Samples were splitted into two halves, and one half was ground to minus 120 mesh size, cone quartered, and sent for chemical analysis. The other half was kept for reference. Chemical analysis was essentially done initially by AAS, atomic absorption spectrophotometer, and finally by fire assay methods to identify the percentage of gold in ppm. Gold loads were thus identified based on chemical analysis data at 1.5 meter stopping width and 1 to 2 ppm cutoff grade of gold. Level plans of gold loads at different RL reduced level were prepared for reserve calculation. Reserve of mineral resource was calculated by cross-section method and longitudinal vertical section methods. So these are different types of core holes, bore holes having cores showing the pyrrhotite and chalcopyrite and different mineralizations, how they occur. Here we can see in the drill core is showing mineralization within the amphibolytic part as disseminations and veins. The drill core here on the right side shows chalcopyrite, which is greenish, and along the foliation plane of the core. Drill core also shows arsenopyrite, which are white, and chalcopyrite along the fracture zones. Drill cores also show arsenopyrite and dissemination of arsenopyrite with patches of host rock in this area. Pyrrhotite veins occupy here within the carbonate rocks, in which occupy within the calcite veins. And chalcopyrite and pyrrhotite. Pyrrhotite, this is reddish one, a bit red, and the yellow one is the chalcopyrite, which is altered with altered amphibolite quartz vein. It is found very often. These are the ore petrographic microphotographs where the arsenopyrite grain can be seen with deformation and rotational effect. Arsenopyrite and pyrrhotite are seen. Pyrrhotite contains arsenopyrite within it, and arsenopyrite is having a mutual boundary with pyrrhotite also. Arsenopyrite, pyrrhotite having mutual boundaries and in containing chalcopyrite. Chalcopyrite, arsenopyrite, pyrrhotite, these are all having mutual boundaries with each other, and these are the relations how these deposits is containing all the minerals. This on the right side, on the upper right side, chalcopyrite is seen with pyrrhotite, and in the upper left side, lower left side, we have chalcopyrite and pyrrhotite, and we have this hostel-like veins or fractures in arsenopyrite, which is filled with chalcopyrite and gold grains which are sparkling yellow in this place. Arsenopyrite and pyrrhotite relation is seen here, which is very common, and is a mutual relation can be seen. Intensely fractured arsenopyrite on the left hand side, upper left, we can see that instant fracturing is there. So these are the indications of deformation and metamorphic character of this ore body. Pyrrhotite enclosing arsenopyrite, and then pyrrhotite also enclosing arsenopyrite in the lower part. So gold in this area has been seen less than 10 to 1000 microns in size and of variable shapes within arsenopyrite, lowlingite, chalcopyrite, and pyrrhotite. Gold grains varying in size from a fraction of a micron to 20 microns also occur in the hydrothermally altered zones, and bismuth and maldonite also occur in close association with native gold. These are certain micro photographs of the ore sections where you can see arsenopyrite containing a vein of pyrrhotite with nugget of gold. Similarly, here arsenopyrite containing bismuthite and maldonite with native gold. Arsenopyrite containing maldonite and bismuthite with the native gold, and arsenopyrite containing lowlingite, and lowlingite contains the native gold in this area. These are the relations of native gold with other minerals in which it is found. So correlation of gold with other elements were also identified. This gold shows very positive correlation with copper. With cobalt and nickel, it is a bit lesser correlation, but it is quite good. Correlation of gold with cobalt and nickel is also reflected in occurrence of gold in lowlingite and arsenopyrite. So that's why we get, along with gold, some silver, copper, nickel, and cobalt. EPMA study has been carried out, which indicates gold is of having 98.47%, containing some silver up to 6.55%, and it contains some bismuth and some gold, and maldonite contains gold and bismuth also. Fluid inclusion studies were also carried out for this deposit, which indicates 4 types of fluids present in this mineral resource. Inclusions which are filled with liquor vapor and halide polyhalide daughter crystals. Non-aqueous monophase carbonic inclusions filled up with low density methane vapor filled monophase inclusions. And the fourth one is biphase liquid vapor aqueous saline inclusion. Sulfur isotopic studies were carried out, and which indicate that the sulfur isotopes indicate this fluid is of submarine hydrothermal type, and they do not bear any mantle sulfur signature. So this is very important in this. Ore genesis was tried by different workers. Garia and others in 2001, they identified that the formation of auriferous gold sulfide deposit is by hydrothermal alteration, whereas Guha in 2004 identified that metal sulfides were already present along bedding planes and are metamorphosed, and hence were present before the initiation of deformation. The source of metal was probably outpouring of the volcanogenic, ultramafic, tufaceous rock, aided by granitic body at depth. Different 11 mineralized zones were identified in this Bhukia gold prospect, out of which the highest strike length is 3100 meter, and the lowest strike length is 290 meters, with width varying from 10 to 150 meters. The surface mineralization zones are identified as zone 1, 2, 3, 4, and the surface manifestation is like this from east to west. The zones are somewhere thicker and thinner, and they follow basically the shear zones present in this area. Calculations of zones were done at 0.5 gram per ton cutoff and 1 to 2 meter stopping width. Copper zones were calculated 0.1% and 1 meter stopping width, 2% at 2 meter stopping width. Grade of zones were not allowed to fall below the cutoff grade. Analytical results of core sample indicated 1 meter to 55.95, 56 meter thick gold zones. And the cut at 0.1% cutoff and 1 meter stopping width, the thickness of copper zones varied from 1 meter to 52 and 53 meters. So quite good example of gold and copper mineralization in this area. These are the different block-wise estimates of grade of copper, gold, copper, nickel, and cobalt. We have total gold metal content of about 24 tons of metal gold, with total reserves of about 115 million tons ore reserves, in which we have quite good amount of copper, nickel, and cobalt also, which you will see. The copper resources in this area, total resources of copper with the gold is 77.7 million ton with average grade of 0.26%. Metal content is 16964.0 0.0196 million tons of copper. Ore beneficiation studies were carried out. The samples are amenable to gravity as well as cyanidation process. Recovery of gold was through gravity 70% and through cyanidation process is 91%. But cyanide consumption is very high due to copper mineral present in it. Copper mineral present in ore may be overcome by present pre-treatment like bioprocessing or ore concentrate of the ore concentrate. And it is suggested to make gold concentrate by flotation to reduce the bulk for pre-treatment as well as cyanidation. In biotreatment, copper will be get leached out and copper can be recovered by suitable methods. So in the concluding remarks, I can say that it is seen that dolomitic marble with calcaneized tuff intercalations and amphibole alteration gives high values of gold, 2 to 4 ppm and up to 15 ppm. Gold copper zones get wider at depth and extend deeper with increasing grade. This widening is in all probability because of ramifying conjugate shear zones containing gold sulfide lodes. Gold occurs as free grains and not in lattice of arsenopyrite as indicated by EPM studies. Gold is of very high fineness, averaging 950, attributing to higher temperature of formation. Gold is easily recoverable from ore as indicated by ore beneficiation studies. And gold basically starts occurring at very shallow depth, 30 meter to 50 meter depth, starting from oxidation zone itself and goes on to the depth. So in terms of mining, explorers resources are inferred and are indicated, and in terms of mining, since it is found at a very shallower depth, it can start with open cast mining. Here we can see one of the block which is known as Delwara block is the highest in resources, because this is not because of some other reasons, it is only because of here the second and third level of drilling is done, whereas in the other blocks this was not done, and that's why possibly they have missed the higher resources in this area. So in due course of time, if such systematic drilling is also required in other blocks with smaller borehole spacing of up to 25 meter or below, and also in extension greenfield areas in continuation of this deposit, which will certainly increase the gold mineral resources, gold copper mineral resources in this area. So the future prospect of this gold sulfide belt is very promising in terms of the nature of deposit, as enumerated above, with good recovery of metal from ore. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Guha, for such a comprehensive presentation of Bhukia gold deposit. There are some very interesting points here. How deep was this assessment done? Is the depth persistence closed or is it still open at depth?
This depth persistence is becoming very closer and wider in depth because of, in all probability, as we have seen through our mapping and detailed drilling, etc., that conjugate shears are present in this area very often, and these conjugate shears, they merge and converge, and possibly this makes the gold loads thicker in at a depth, and when they diverge also, these deposits get away, and again they come when the shears appear in depth. So this is the possible reason that why we get thicker zones at depth. This is basically related with the structural setup in this area.
So this brings me to another question. I was having a bit of thought about while you are presenting, is that you just said that the gold is associated with shear zones and the thickness increases
Yes.
With shear zones. So
Yes.
normally in a normal tectonic sequence, we would expect the shear zones to be to develop at a later phase of deformation. So if the mineralization has come or is correlated,
Yes, mineralization,
what would be the age relationship between the mineralization?
age relations with mineralization and the shear zone development. Yes, shear zone has possibly the mineralization is in all probability, as I have inferred in my works, in my individual works, I would say, because there are several genetic theories given. I have not given a theory, but still I understand with my studies of the ore petrology and other studies that these minerals were present during the deposition of the sediment itself in all probability, or just after the deposition of the sediment, because they are found oriented along the bedding plane and along the foliations also. So these foliations and the bedding planes which were folded and refolded, and concentration of the mineralization possibly occurred due to the shear zones which were of conjugate nature. This is what I understand with my studies. And the mineralization was obviously present before, and it got deformed and metamorphosed at a later stage and got attenuated in its deposit in due course of time with deformation. This is what I have understood, sir. And maybe in someday somebody comes and says some more ideas, but till now, no such other idea has come out, as I have already told you several hypotheses given by several workers, including mine. So this is a metamorphic deposit where the metal was present, and this metal possibly came through the ultramafic, mafic, albite-rich cohesive rock association, and they were deposited during their deposition with the sediments itself, and they were metamorphosed, and they are concentrated through these shear zones and by metamorphic processes itself. Through these shear zones and microspheres possibly developed within this. This is my thinking as present.
What do you think are the future prospects, the way forward?
Sir, GSI and HZL also, they calculate the deposit at a lower estimate. And I am sure if it is recalculated with the recent methods, then you can see that this resource will certainly increase. And even if it doesn't increase, at present we have about 224, 225 tons of metal of gold with 115 million tons of gold, which is bound to extend beyond at a depth because of the structural controls which we have already identified in this area. So, and interestingly, this is found at a very shallow depth. It starts from we start getting gold copper mineralization at a very shallow depth, about 30 meters from just below the oxidation zone. We start getting this metal.
I also noticed during your presentation there were that a lot of veins are going into the carbonates also with copper and some base metal components. Now,
yes,
is there a possibility of maybe a Mississippi Valley or carbonate replacement type of mineralization as extension of this deposit?
Sir, one thing is there in this deposit is if we, as such we can say this is a metamorphic deposit or a metamorphous deposit, but hydrothermal or the later part of the metamorphism starts again. You have got the fluid phase which actually have created these hydrothermal veins in this area, like this amphibole carbonate, quartz amphibole veins, which contain in which this mineralization extends. So this is very much possible, and we can get extension of these areas in nearby places. So this is very much possible. Your thinking is very much right, and people will get these things, in my opinion, because these are the things we have seen in the field very often.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you for watching the video. I invite you all to please visit the Mineral Exploration Academy website and register yourself. The registration is free, and registration is open to students, teachers, professionals, or anybody who is interested in mineral exploration. The registration will also provide you an access to be able to ask questions from our experts, and also provide an opportunity for established experts to answer and interact with the students. The registration form is available on the Mineral Exploration Academy website. I would also encourage you to look at the editorials and opinion sections and visit the student question and answer section at the bottom here. In the student question and answer section, the questions asked by the students are being answered by our experts. Our experts are the top people in the field, and it would be a wonderful learning opportunity for the students for probably the questions that occurred to you but you could not ask, or to review questions what have occurred to other people and get the answers the different experts are providing. Thank you so much, and I look forward to interacting with you a lot more.